So now we begin again, as usual. His Holiness, would you like to make some initial remarks? So this session is peace in the family. After the individual, now we have peaceful individual. Now we are worrying about peace in the family.
I have no experience how to create a peaceful family. I don't know. But of course, I think key role to build compassionate family. I think mother have the key role. I think my own sort of family case, my mother, so kind, and also quite sort of patience. My father, very short temper. Occasionally fight with my mother, but my mother always calm, compassionate. So I think in our home, in spite short-temper father, still they sort of home quite peaceful. So that I feel. Then also I think genuine friendship or relation between the father and the mother, their relation, genuine one. Then the children also get maximum affection. So that further goes, the marriage should be happy marriage, long-lasting marriage. That related many years ago in San Francisco, I met one Christian city minister, I think, who also, you see, consulting some marriage. So then he told me, usually he advised those people who seek advice from him. Then his sort of usual sort of advice is, make known each other, no hurry, final decision. He told me that. I think that's wise. So sometimes among my sort of some friend, after some time they brought their wife. Then when I asked, when you met, how long since you know each other? Just 1 month. That I think too short. So spend you see some time, the both sides, because of the male and the female, make known each other. Then the decision of marriage should not based on physical attraction, but should know the real person's sort of quality. That also not just education or wealth, but real person's sort of, again here, education is important, but more important is warm-heartedness. So, I think I may share in the front of two Nobel laureates. In early 60, one Tibetan monk official, eventually he disrobed. Then he married. So since I know that official since many years, so I teased him, oh, your wife, not that attractive. then his reply is, physical level, not much attractive, but in a person, really wonderful, very, very nice person. So then I have no sort of further nothing to say. I think that's important. I often see telling people, external beauty, important, but internal beauty is more important. So long-lasting marriage much depend on inner beauty. So before knowing each other, the real, the inner person, no hurry. finalized marriage. Then, so that I feel, of course, 자바지기 주도면 주도시거다.
In a sense, as a monk, talking about family and marriage, I'm being just nosy.
So I think these are reality, fact. You see, in order to build happy family, they mainly two-parent responsibility on the parent, and particularly mother. Then the whole children of that family, grown up, raised within that kind of atmosphere. Then these children also eventually become more compassionate person. Otherwise, the family where parents often quarrel and then eventually divorce, the children, they know sort of the full parent rather, like that. Then sometimes I noticed the father took children without her mother. Put the Amazon and random mentioned Baba teacher.
I've heard stories of fathers taking away a child from their mother against his or her wish.
Oh, one my friend, one English, one lady, her young girl, beautiful girl, was taken away by father after the divorce. I can feel how much sorrow because of the pain, both mother and the child. So these things are really unwanted thing. So we must, because of the take sort of serious sort of because of the attention right from the beginning. That's my view. Otherwise, I don't know. Or then as a human being, spend a longer period, it's bound to happen, some quarrel. But quarrel,
So ideally the quarrel should be like a quarrel between two monks, monastic colleagues.
Oh, so little sort of quarrel and use sort of some harsh word, then within a few minutes, forget. I think that's better. Not keep something here. That's very bad. Like I think, like children, a little quarrel here often take place, fight, but no keep ill feeling. Today, I think my own case again, when I came from my birthplace up to Lhasa, I think about 2 months journey on the road. Mm-hmm. I'm too small, so cannot ride horses. So the palanquins are there.
Palanquin.
One small, that thing, I inside. I come that way. So my immediate elder brother, also very young. I think I'm then 4-year-old. My immediate elder brother, perhaps 6-year-old. So we both in that what called palanquin. So we quite often fight inside. When we sort of fought, then the small palanquin, I sit here, he sat there, and no talk. Remember that. That's the best period for person who look after that palanquin. More balanced. When we together, when we very happy, play together within that small, sometimes palanquin go that way, sometimes go that way. So that person who look after that really worry. So for him, the best period is two young boy quarrel and remain silently this side, that side. But within a few minutes, we play. So that I think is very good. We should learn that way. Some disagreement, some little sort of fighting, but we'll forget after a few minutes. Oh, then better like that.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Your Holiness. And now, Dr. Ebadi, would you like to make some opening comments?
چه چیزی صلح در خانواده رو صدمه میزنه؟ این مسئله از زوایای مختلف قابل بررسیه و من میخوام فقط به جنبه حقوقی اون اشاره کنم.
What damages peace in the home can be seen from different angles. What I want to talk about is the legal issues pertaining to peace at the home.
زن و شوهر بایستی از حقوق برابر در قانون برخوردار باشن و اگر قرار بشه یکی بر دیگری برتری پیدا بکنه این آرامش خانواده رو میتونه به هم بزنه.
A wife and a husband should have equal rights. Therefore, if one does not enjoy the same rights as the other, that would disturb the peace in the family.
من میخوام از یک تجربه خودم در کشور ایران با شما صحبت کنم.
And I want to talk about my experience from Iran, my country.
در سال 1979 انقلاب اسلامی اتفاق افتاد و قوانین به ضرر زنها تغییر زیادی کرد.
In 1979, the Islamic Revolution occurred in Iran, and the laws were changed, and they were against women's rights.
زنها تمام حقوقی که داشتن از دست دادن و تبدیل شدن به یک خدمتکار در منزل.
Women lost the rights that they had and became servants in the house.
بعد از حدود 15 سال بعد آماری که ما داشتیم نشون میداد که جرم شوهرکشی چقدر در اجتماع زیاد شده.
15 years later, studies were done, and statistics proved how the number of women killing their husbands had increased.
من در زندان با چند نفر از این زنها مصاحبه کردم.
I saw some of these women in prison and interviewed them.
ازشون پرسیدم چرا شوهرتون رو کشتی؟
I asked them, why did you kill your husband?
یکی از اونا به من گفتش که شوهرم بعد از من 2 زن دیگه گرفته بود و ما 3 رو مجبور میکرد با هم زندگی کنیم.
One of them said that my husband married 2 other women after he had married me, and the 3 of us had to live together.
و قانون به من اجازه نمیداد که من طلاق بگیرم.
But the law would not permit me to apply for a divorce.
و من هر کاری کردم وکیلم گرفتم موفق نشدم طلاق بگیرم.
And although I retained an attorney, I still could not get a divorce.
رفتم خونه پدرم ولی که قانون منو مجبور کرد که برگردم به خونه شوهر.
I went back to my father's house, but the law made me go back to my husband's house.
و یک بارم از خونه فرار کردم برای که دیگه نمیتونستم اون وضع رو تحمل کنم، مخصوصا اینکه شوهرم هم به کوچکترین بهانه‌ای منو کتک میزد. فرار کردم.
And once I escaped my house, specifically with regard to the fact that my husband would get angry at any small thing that happened at home and beat me up.
اما هیچ مؤسسه یا نهاد دولتی نبود که از من حمایت بکنه و من مجبور بودم که تو خونه مردم زندگی کنم. بعد از چند روز دیدم این وضع قابل تحمل نیست.
But there was no governmental organization that would support me, and I had to go from people's house, from one house to another, which was not, of course, tolerable after a while.
مجبور شدم به خونه برگردم و از شوهرم درخواست کنم که من اجازه بده زندگی کنم.
And I had to go back and this time ask my husband to permit me to live in that house.
و شوهرم برای اینکه منو تنبیه بکنه، کوچکترین فرزند من که 3 ساله بود اون از خونه برد و برد پیش مادرش، گفت تو دیگه این بچه رو حق نداری ببینی، به عنوان تنبیه.
But in order to punish me, my husband took my youngest child, who was only 3 years old, to his mother's house.
و در یک شب که من طاقتم تاق شده بود، عصبانی شدم، شوهرم رو کشتم.
And one night when I lost it, I killed my husband.
و از من پرسید که آیا من راه حل دیگه ای داشتم؟
She asked me, did I have any other solution?
نه قانون به من اجازه میداد که بچه داشته باشم، که بچم رو همراه ببرم، نه به من اجازه طلاق میداد، نه اجازه میداد که از اون خونه بیام بیرون، نه دولت از من حمایت میکرد. من برای اینکه از اون زندگی خلاص بشم چیکار باید میکردم؟ یا باید خودم میکشتم یا باید شوهرم میکشتم.
The law did not support me. I could not get a divorce. The law would not give me the custody of my children. The law would not support me in any governmental organization. There was nowhere that I could go, so I either had to commit suicide or kill him.
بنابراین میبینیم که وقتی که قانون عادلانه نیست، آرامش در خونه به هم میخوره.
Therefore, when the law is not justified, the tranquility in the house will no longer be there.
وقتی که قانون به یه مردی اجازه میده که چند تا همسر داشته باشه، چطور آرامش در اون خانه میتونه حکومت بکنه؟
When the law permits a man to marry a few wives, how could there be calm in that house?
وقتی که قانون معتقده که بعد از طلاق بچه بایستی پیش پدر باشه و مادر محروم میشه از دیدن بچه، چطور میشه آرامش باشه؟
When the law states that after divorce the custody of children goes to the father instead of the mother, how could there be calm?
اون چه که بیشتر از همه صلح و در خانواده به خطر میاندازه، فرهنگ پدر سالاره و قوانینی که مروج این فرهنگه.
Therefore, what really threatens peace in the family is the patriarchal culture and the laws based on that culture.
وقتی که اساس زندگی بر تساوی و محبت باشه، مسلماً اینا با آرامش زندگی میکنن.
When the basis of life is on equality and compassion, of course there will be love and calm.
در زندگی ممکنه مشکلات برای همه پیش بیاد، مثل فقر، مثل از دست دادن کار، ولیکن وقتی که زن و شوهر برابر باشن و اساس زندگی بر عشق باشه، مشکلات رو تحمل میکنن.
Husbands and wives may be driven to poverty. There may be other problems. They may lose their jobs. But if there is equality, and also if there is love, they can continue their life.
و در یک کلام به طور خلاصه، اگه میخواید آرامش رو در یک خانواده از بین ببرید، تساوی رو به هم بزنید.
And in brief, if you don't want tranquility and calm in a family, get rid of equality.
Thank you so much. Does anyone like to make a comment on that? Anybody would like to comment on that? If not, then we will go straight to Jody.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to just flip it from peace in the family to the family helping kids understand peace. I chose not to have children, knowing that I would not be good at that job. So I'm going to talk from the other angle. I think that it's really critical, and somebody on the panel this morning spoke about not just our rights, our responsibilities. And I think too often, you know, our kids, especially in the younger ones I've seen today who were a little bit tad over entitled and are a tad bit believing that shopping is a basic human right. I think that it would behoove us to have kids understand that in order to have rights, you also have to have responsibility and action around those rights. I think also in order to teach kids peace, we have to make peace cool. You know, too many kids think peace is for wimps. And it's not just kids. One of the things that I have found profoundly disturbing as I've thought about it over the last few years is the emasculation of the concept of peace. And I think, you know, what's a peacenik? You know, the tree-hugging liberal, idealist utopians who don't understand the realities. I think that part of that is done in order to stop conversation. If you feel ashamed, if you hear words that are in the general context degrading in some way or meant to be, it makes it hard to have an honest and open conversation about what peace is. When I think about peace, with all due respect to the meditators and everything, and I love Deepak's, no, I did. I went to his thing, and now I'm going to want to go to one of his week-long workshops and learn how to meditate and be peaceful. But I'm completely serious. Thank you. But I think of that as personal serenity. Too often, you know, when we think about peace, we see the rainbow and the dove, and we hear kumbaya and all that. I can't sing. But that, to me, isn't peace. And I worry about that dove flying over my head and going to the bathroom, frankly. That, to me, is personal serenity. Peace is hard work. Peace is accepting a concept of the world that is different. Peace is not simply the absence of armed conflict. The absence of armed conflict is merely the baseline for the possibility of sustainable peace. And to have sustainable peace, you have to have justice, as Shirin was alluding to. As Shirin also said, without equality, you cannot have peace. In order to have sustainable peace, we also have to have a different understanding, as we heard this morning, about our place on this planet. And that a few of us, primarily in the Western world, but not completely anymore, defend our right to have all the stuff. And then we wonder why people who don't have very much at all are kind of agitated that they don't have stuff and they want the stuff. And I'm in the West, I don't want you to be touching my stuff. If we're going to change this world, we have to accept the fact that everybody has the right to a dignified life. They have the right, to dignified employment so that they can hold their head high and help support their own families. Children should be educated, as we heard over and over again this morning. Education is fundamental to a strong and secure country in the sense of security that I understand. Healthcare. One should have healthcare. It should not be a commodity sold by medical corporation. And all of this translates into a different understanding of security. It's human security. It's security based on meeting the needs of humanity, not the security of the nation state, which is always pounded into our head. National security, national security. And I keep thinking, what is that? Do I feel secure because we spend half of our budget on weapons? No, I actually feel agitated. What I think they're securing is the government, the bureaucracy, the right of that to continue. They're not listening to what I want. When 70% of the people in the world say they want no more nuclear weapons, and these people are still making nuclear weapons, what security are we talking about? I want us to embrace human security. Doesn't mean we don't need police. Unfortunately, we got some bad guys around, that's true, but I want us to embrace human security. I want us to understand what peace really is and to work for peace. There is not a wimpy peacenik that I know. Shirin Ebadi is hardly a wimpy peacenik. His Holiness, struggling for the freedom of his people, is hardly a wimp. I clearly am not a wimp. I would say Martin Luther King was no wimp. Gandhi was no wimp. If I am going to be a wimpy peacenik, please make me one like them.
Thank you. Any comment, Your Holiness? Now that you have been declared a non-wimp?
Kaza.
The the non-wimp is busy.
So
I think you move
I
on.
fully agree. The peace, not just absence of violence. Peace, something fuller. And then also, I think real peace very much sort of related with non-violence. So that real sort of non-violence practices, you confront problem, the possibility of using violence. That moment, restrain deliberately, and develop willpower. I must face this through strictly non-violent way. That is real peace. That is real non-violence. Everything happy, calm, then say peace, peace, peace. And occasionally release some pigeon. I think pigeon, doves, I think really suffer much. In the crowd release, then they do not know where land. Oh. So sometimes you see they land in human sort of shoulder, not out of love, but out of sort of confused. Where? Oh. So that at least you see create some sort of suffering on these small animals. So sometimes the people love to see, peace movement, peace sort of they can march and release some birds. These are just, and also you see peace, sometimes you see people get some kind of a fashion. Peace conference. The reality, try to find every occasion how to cheat them, how to bully them. So how can develop genuine peace? Peace must come from here. Out of fear, restrain violence. Out of fear, not genuine peace. And also I think sometimes I also feel we Tibetan follow peaceful sort of movement. That also not necessarily very genuine. There's no other choice. But real peace is you have the ability to use force, but still deliberately restrain using sort of force. That's the real peace. So the ultimately action is the most important. Sometimes we too much sort of relying on prayer. Now these days, I also see expressing last few thousand years, we human beings on this planet completely relying on pray. Pray to God, or pray to Buddha, or pray to Allah, with hope of what we want can bring by God. Then science, technology last either 200 to 300 years. Science, technology developed. Then many of things which we want now immediately brought by technology. So then we put real hope on technology. It's true, technology comes through action, not through prayer. So peace, human creation, and violence, opposite, violence or creation. Of course, animals also, you see, have some kind of sometimes occasionally fight, kill, but not mobilized wide-scale violence. That's only human being. That we consider war. So ultimately, peace must develop here. Then through that way, I think with peaceful mind, you then act the face to reality. Out of fear, out of the distrust, you cannot face the reality. Then often rely on use force. So that again is very much related with truthful, honest, transparent, very much related with open heart, right? And then more warm-hearted. Since you have no ill feeling towards other, you can act transparently, truthfully, honestly. That creates trust. Trust creates genuine sort of willingness how to solve this sort of through mutual benefit, right? Mutual agreement, like that. So I think ultimately action is most important. So I fully agree. And maybe action with more gentle way, with patience. Action sometimes impatience, maybe some difficulties.
Any other response? All right. That's very nice. Thank you, Your Holiness.